Hey there! So you're looking for a dog trainer in Waldorf, Maryland, and want to make sure you find the right one. You're in the right place. We're going to break it all down to help you figure this out.
Living in Waldorf with a dog is just the best. It's all about those walks around the neighborhood, maybe a trip over to the park, and really just being a good neighbor. And let's be honest, a well-behaved dog makes all of that so much easier and way more fun for everybody.
All right, here's what we're going to cover to help you make a great choice. First, we'll talk about what to even look for in training. Then we'll get into the different formats, what it all costs, the questions you've got to ask, and we'll wrap up with some local Waldorf rules and resources.
Okay, first things first. Before we even start thinking about who you're going to hire, we need to get clear on what good training actually looks like. This is the foundation for everything else. So, the term you're going to hear a lot, and for good reason, is positive reinforcement. The idea is really simple. You reward the behavior you want to see happen more often. It's all about using things your dog loves, like treats, praise, or a favorite toy, to say, yes, that's it. This approach is not only effective, but it also helps build a really strong, trusting relationship with your dog.
So how do you know if a trainer really knows their stuff? Well, credentials are a great clue. Certifications like the CPDT-KA or one from the Karen Pryor Academy show that a trainer has put in the work and is committed to their education. And hey, if you're dealing with more serious issues, like major fear or reactivity, a certification like the IAABC-CDBC tells you that person has a much deeper level of expertise.
Okay, so we know what to look for in a training philosophy. Now, let's talk about how the training is actually delivered. There are a few different formats, and the right one for you really just depends on your dog, your lifestyle, and what you're trying to accomplish.
The two most common options you'll see are group classes and private lessons. Group classes, they're awesome for learning basic manners and for practicing around other dogs and people, which is a skill all on its own. They're also typically easier on the wallet. On the flip side, private lessons are completely tailored to you. They are perfect for tackling those specific problems that happen right in your own home. Like going crazy when the doorbell rings or jumping all over your guests.
And those aren't your only choices. You might also see board and train programs, where your dog stays with the trainer for some really intensive work. There's also day training, which is great if you're busy. The trainer works with your dog while you're at work. And of course, if you have a puppy classes are a must for that early socialization and getting the basics down.
All right, let's get down to the practical side of all this, the cost. What should you expect to budget for professional training here in the Waldorf and Greater Charles County area?
Just to give you a quick baseline, a single 1-hour private lesson is usually going to fall somewhere in this range. It's a good number to have in your head as a starting point, but most people end up going with a package.
And here's why. Packages almost always give you a better value. As you can see, when you buy a 6-week group class or a set of in-home sessions, the cost for each one comes down. Now, board and train is definitely the biggest investment, but that price reflects the fact that it's an intensive, round-the-clock service.
Okay, you know the method you're looking for, you have an idea of the format you want, and you've got a budget in mind. Now it's time to actually talk to some trainers. Let's make sure that conversation is a good one.
You want to have these 6 questions in your back pocket. The first 2 just confirm what we've already talked about, their methods and their credentials. But asking how they tailor a plan is a big one. You don't want a cookie-cutter approach. And finally, asking about progress and vet collaboration, especially for tougher issues, shows you're looking for a real partner in this. It's all about teamwork.
For this last section, let's bring it all back home. Because great training isn't just about what happens in your living room or in a class. It's about getting your dog ready for real life, right here in Waldorf.
At the end of the day, training helps you be a responsible dog owner and a good neighbor. For instance, Charles County has a leash law, so teaching your dog to walk nicely on a leash isn't just polite, it's the rule. And of course, getting that rabies vaccine is required by the state. Good training can also help manage things like nuisance barking, which definitely keeps the peace in the neighborhood.
So once you start learning all this new stuff, where can you go to practice? Well, Waldorf and the area around it have some really great spots. The dog parks in White Plains and St. Charles are fenced, which is perfect for safely working on skills like coming when called. And for practicing your leashed walking with some real-world distractions, the trails over at Gilbert Run Park or the paths around the Capitol Clubhouse are just fantastic.
So as we wrap this up, here's a good question to think about. At its core, all this training stuff, it's really just about building better communication with your dog. Every time they learn something new, whether it's a simple sit or how to walk calmly past another dog, that connection just gets stronger.
We really hope this helps you find the perfect trainer, because a well-trained dog just makes every part of life here better, doesn't it? From a quiet evening at home to a walk through St. Charles with family and friends. It's an investment that you'll be glad you made every single day.